Hi everybody, I'm that girl goddess. I want to talk about why some men and women do not get along and we live in a society that is delusional. You know, I tell people of all the stuff you got food, we go to the grocery store and buy food that's basically destroying us. It's poisonous, not even real food, fake foods. They want to replace fake food instead of just give us the real food. And then wonder why we all got all these health problems. Oh yeah, because they got stock in the pharmaceuticals and they getting paid by us going to the doctors getting medication never to be cured. That's why. And people's reaping hard because of the low down ways they want to make money, talking about and call it capitalism. A lot of relationships are not married because people don't go about them the right way. People call dating, that really just means I want to hook up, intimate, and be, intimate with you. Okay. And we'll call it a relationship so I don't have to pay every time I come. hmm And then you have the people, um, they want you to act like a spouse, but they don't want to do the things that a spouse is supposed to do. But they want to hold you accountable, give you scriptures, and tell you what's wrong with you. Now, all through the Bible, all I ever seen was God saying to bring yourself back into subjection of the Word of God, examine yourself for you to change your ways, for you to repent. I didn't know the whole thing was blaming something on somebody else. And see, a lot of these men, you know, they really hurt about someone rejecting them, but the person they went to talk to in the beginning was unavailable. Okay, they found some girl and a lot of guys talked about how she was in the bedroom and all this kind of stuff. And she got an OnlyFans page. I said, yeah, I don't know why she say OnlyFans because it ain't only just one person with her. You meet somebody and you talk to them and you gonna fly out to another state. You know where are you flying out? Okay, we're not gonna be stupid about this. You know why you flying out and you know what's expected. Don't get there talking about, well, I feel if you ask me out to a date, you paying. Soon means you make a ASS of you and me. Okay? You don't assume nothing. Dating does not say a man has to pay for the date. You know, a guy can turn around and say, well, I'd like to see more of you. Maybe we can go out to eat sometimes Dutch. My finances not there. They know their finances ain't there either. And say, well, we can meet up at the park and bring us something and spend a couple hours out and do a walk. Because like in Michigan, you got a river walk. It's beautiful. Enjoy the scenery. Laugh and talk. Get to know somebody. Find out if you compatible. Do you serve the same God? But see, the lack of confusion because everybody been so much on their phones that they don't even have real conversations and text messaging, Facebook and doing posts and reading the posts, but you don't have a real relationship because you don't interact with nobody and you have no people skills. And that's the breakdown of a lot of relationship. Satan wants you caught up in AI and robots and all this kind of stuff. Baby, robots and AI, let me explain something to you. It may have a place, but I'm not a person who's going to support any of that, really. Because you got people, able bodies that can get a job, need the money, and they should be able to work. Not no doggone robot take their place. Because everybody in this world, unless they born into some money and it was given to them, need a job. You're not an adult till you can maintain a base income and pay your bills. Okay, and all the other rest of it, until you get married, you're not obligated to nobody else. Unless you gave birth and you made a child. You don't owe your parents nothing but love and respect. And that's what the Bible say. Oh, no man, nothing but love. But if they was your parents and they was loving, they was kind, and they was caring for you, then when they get into a situation where they need help, yes, you should be there. That's the least you can do. Show love, decency. And that don't mean your parents done have a stroke and some other problems going on and you working 12 hours a day. You may not be the best caregiver for your parents, and you may not can afford to take care of your parents. And sometimes you do have to look at a living facility for them. Okay? You got to be realistic about your situation. But the problem is the lack of communication, not just talking at somebody and saying something to make them believe you're something you're not, and you saying what somebody else said. When you communicate with somebody on an intimate level, you are revealing yourself. Intimate means into my mate, into me. Okay? You got to reveal yourself, and you got to be honest, and you got to be flexible. Because when you're not flexible, you're arthritic. You're rigid. Some things you'll need to change, but a lot of things you do. If you're a person who uses a lot of profanity, you will scare off a lot of good people. I'm going to be honest. Because they're going to be like, woo. They don't know what comes with that. It's a time and a place for everything. If you're a person who throws temper tantrums, yeah, you'll scare that person away. You know, and I just tell people, if you hold a real conversation and give somebody a dialogue, you can eliminate wasting your time. And a lot of people are not honest because they think they got to run game, men tell you what you want to hear so they can get to the goodies and have no interest in you. I tell females, sometimes, you know, that person, they be all into you. And they may be the one. God may show you they the one. But sometimes you got to say, let's take this slow. Okay? And tell them, I've been hurt before. I want to get to know you. I want to see if I enjoy your company. Just because you can be sexually compatible and have nothing in common. And totally incompatible. That's just a chemistry of two lust demons. Because before it not to be lust in that way of being intimate, if you're not married, it's lust. You don't have good intentions. Where's this relationship going? And I ask the person, what type of relationship you want with me? I don't know. Okay, you know what? Bye. Because I ain't going to play the game. You ain't going to come over and hook up with me and just think, oh, we ain't going to use titles. Bye. I'm not playing games. I'm not retarded. Because the moment I talk to somebody, if we was doing that and I get to talking to somebody else, I'm in my face, and then you catch your feelings and you jealous, you mad, and why you doing this? If I'm free, I'm single, and I ain't nothing but this, I can eliminate you fast because you ain't got no feelings in it. Be real. Stop playing games. See, I didn't play games when I was young. A lot of people turn around and say, well, you know how it was when we was teenagers. I wasn't goofy. I didn't go through a goofy stage. I never wanted to play nobody. I didn't like games. Okay? I was very dominant in my life. Not dogging nobody. But I made a decision like, I don't want to be on the system. I'm going to have a job. I can't see you all the time because I have to be at work between these times. And I can't be on no phone talking, cell phone. And no, sir, you're not going to be at my house. Come at my house at 2 o'clock in the morning. You're going to see me before 9 p.m. And you're going to leave early. If we ain't compatible, we don't get along, you're not getting these goodies. Ain't 1,000 miles ain't going to be put on me, on my body. And I'm not even married. That's for them streets. You go find somebody's in them streets and you relate to the street. But I tell people, you talk street, but you want caviar. But baby, caviar is not cheap. You got to pay the cost to be the boss. If you want quality, you got to be quality. You got to have a standard. A lot of women have not raised their sons. And they sons just imitating. Be glad when they get some. See, my sons was not goofy. They had a mama. And my sons come back and tell me like, Mama, I sat down and talked to them what she blew out their mouth. And I just be sitting there laughing. No. And you hear a lot of men say, oh, mom, that girl act like your mom. They're like, oh, heck, no, I don't want nobody like my mama. My son say the opposite. I want someone like my mama. And will look you dead in your eye because then I know I got something. Okay? And I thank God for that. I thank God for that. Because they looked at things that will take you to a next level. I always talk to my children about entrepreneurship. What it takes, the drive. I let them watch. I let them see me, the preparation for it. I tell people, and I work for other companies, fought to have the education. Okay? I'm telling you, you can't always have a relationship and you trying to get your education because them females don't want to do it. They coming to be a distraction. You end up messing up in school because you going over to see them instead of staying at home, studying your books, getting your homework complete and lessons turned in. You entertaining somebody that's going nowhere. Making sacrifices for them. You can't pay for your books because you too busy trying to entertain somebody who just trying to get an experience off of you that they can't afford for themselves. And instead of being real with themselves and doubling down to be able to put themselves in afford to go to a 5-star restaurant or buy that Prada or that Louis Vuitton bag, if that's what they want. I tell people, I don't criticize people that go get designers. If that's something you want to do, then do it. Go out there and make it happen. But don't tell nobody else to afford you the lifestyle that you want. You supposed to pay the cost for the lifestyle that you want. You get someone, they marry you, and you have someone to be supportive. You got to grind. You got to be honest who they are. You can't turn around and say you want somebody that want to live a certain lifestyle and then turn around. They don't never spend no time with me because they handling business. You ain't went to school. They done been to college, got degrees, and you talking about, I'm a high quality woman. How? All you ever did was live in the projects and make a baby. You see them Facebook fake prophets. I got 10 kids. How you? God got plans for my life. Y'all gonna support it? Not. Oh man, I got to figure out how to get me a babysitter and get me a job. Maybe I should work at a daycare till my children are able to be at school. And when I come home, I'm gonna have to sign up for some classes and They ain't talking like that. All they talking to is your wallet. If God put it in your heart to sow into me, why would God be telling you to sow into him? And God told the apostles when they went out, don't worry about where the finance, your provision is going to come from. Because as the birds show up every day and they fed, God can take care of you. But he required every adult to go out there and labor and work. And why did you lay up and have all them babies? Most successful people, and I said most, okay, because I have a bunch of kids, but I'm successful. Okay. I always worked and grind and went to school and this, and this, and achieved. I tell people, look, I want you to understand something. Most people, husband and wife, usually don't have more than 4 children. Most of them don't get past 3. When you get to talking about you got 10 kids, if you laid up and had 10 kids, you should have been able, by the time the 3rd child comes, you should have been buying your home. And I'm not one of them people who just talking to talk, because I bought mine. Okay? Bought hood houses. It's cheap. Fixer-uppers. Put the work in. But if you out here just having fun, no birth control, the reason birth control was put into place was to keep you from having more children than you can afford on your own. You can plan your children. You can prepare for them. And you sitting here talking about God told me to tell you this, and I'm a mother of prophets. Whenever you give a prophecy, do you know the mothers of prophets, people called into certain callings like that, can tell you exactly where you got your word? So when you was playing on the internet, somebody else fake prophesying, and God will send the lying prophet. And I sometimes watch how many people will lie with the lying prophet saying that's the word that God give. But the God sent that lying prophet and told him to lie. Because some people just seek prophets and don't seek God. You can't put your trust in everything. And when you get to talking, I done had people come up to give me a prophecy, and I had to sit there and tell them. And they was like, God told me. I looked at them, I said, no, God didn't tell you that. Such and such said this, and they called you and told me they was anointing you to be prophet, but God never called you for that. You got to make sure your election and calling is sure. Yeah. Then they get mad. Then I seen them probably about a year later after I said it, and they said, I know this and that. And they turn around and say, you know, you was exactly right. I said, I know. I done stood on lines where people had a church. It was full. A church full. A large church. And the pastor went to prophesying, and they was prophesying. And they say, I know people that said stuff about you. Trust me, I don't have the personality. Because in preschool, somebody said something about me. I went over and punched them in their face. Okay, I ain't take bullying. So that's the wrong personality. They think because I'm nice, and when I smile, they be like, oh my God. They just think because I greet them well. And I said, well, God says giving into hospitality, and I greet people properly. And I be like, good morning. How you doing today? Oh, good. God bless. And that be sincere. But I didn't say I was stupid. Okay. And then when people think you're anointed, they just think you're dumb. And I remember talking one time, I said, it's funny how the older prophet tried to do things to manipulate the upcoming prophet to fund their whatever they want. And they think that God is not with them, and they trying to manipulate. And when I said it, they stopped. But when I was talking about being at the congregation, a large congregation, they was speaking into my life and telling me, thus saith the Lord, and they was thus saying a lie. God just told me to be quiet. Yeah, God showed me you gonna be a millionaire in 3 years. Really? Wow. I had just came out of a car accident, couldn't even go to work. Oh my God, I was going from one appointment after the next appointment. I was on unemployment. It took me 3 years before me to really get myself back in physical condition to walk. And I just moved on. You have to be careful. If somebody coming, they probably only tickling your ears. Because a lot of people, they couldn't stand me because I turned around and said, And I'm like, God had gave me a word to give this warning. And then people looking like, oh Lord. Because some of the ways that God gonna give a word, sometimes you be giving confirmation and them people eyes be bucking because they know. You ain't got to tell me that God reversed the curse. God gave me victory over my enemies. You ain't got to tell me that. Because God already told me vengeance is his. He already told me I had the victory. Okay. When I walked in obedience, I knew he was going to exalt me. It's just reading the word, knowing the word of God. So you're not tickling my ears. And when God give you a word, I'll be like, that resonated. And then sometimes I look at some people and they on prophets and they think they putting the word out for this person and it can be for this person. And I listen. And sometimes I tell my spouse, I'll be like, that's probably for you. And I'll click off of it. Because whatever's for him is for him. And I ask God to just illuminate the word that he had for us. And any other word that he take it out of our spirit. Show us how it's not for us. Show us what's for us. I don't get caught up in that. I don't chase prophets. God will send a prophet when there's something he's trying to tell me he's doing or whatever. But I don't seek out a lot of prophets. I say Lord, I need a word from you. God can talk directly to me, especially since I'm a prophet. And if you ain't a prophetess, God still ministers to your soul if you're his. But he's not gonna scream over the people around you and all them thoughts running through your head. If you handle your business, you wouldn't be so stressed out. If you stop trying to be so slick and a hustler, you wouldn't be looking at yourself. Oh, I don't want to get caught up. I don't want to go to jail. I don't want them to find out. Oh my God, I hope it go through. No, you go push your time clock. And at the end of the week or pay period, you will get your money. If you play the game of chance like the lottery and you win, God bless. You know, all that stuff, you sitting up trying to talk to somebody and you sweet talking them and you trying to maneuver, then you wonder why relationships ain't working out for you. Ain't working out for you because you got a bad track record and karma then came and slapped you in the face. You don't communicate. You a liar. And when they get to praying, God showed them who you are. He put up blockage because he know you're full of it. I guess you say, this is a weird talk from her now. I was giving some formulas for a relationship in the world and different conditions. And, I speak on a lot of things. We got to form a relationship and everything. You can talk back. And I always tell you to comment. Not with foolishness, but comment. And yes, sometimes some of the things I say will just be confirmation to things that God have told you. And some things you said a mouthful. Because God gave you something you need to hear. reason a lot of relationships fails is because people is fake. They get up here on YouTube and different social media platforms and they pretend to live these lavish lifestyles, and I make a 6-digit figure every month, at least 20K every month. What, you some kind of dope dealer? Okay. So you telling me every week you make at least 20K out of 52 weeks in the year. Okay, and you need YouTube? You fake. You fake. Sometimes you can look at the background and the scenery and some of the stuff you wear fast, and I be like, well, that's cheap and that's not a real designer bag, and that's this. You go in a restaurant, you sitting there glutton, and you done order 10 things off the menu. What? You go out with someone, you order your basic dinner, maybe an appetizer, and something to drink, and a dessert. You ask them, would this be okay? Before you get there, well, we're going out to eat. Are you paying, or do you want me to pay for mine? Or what? That shows signs of intelligence. But you mad at your man because he didn't pay for your girlfriend and that you invited. You invited her, now pay for it. He didn't invite her. Why is he paying for her? But then if she get to the point and they start sleeping together, just remember, you set it up. You spending that man money, you becoming his liability. He trying to save up for something and you trying to impress your friends. Come on now. Dudes, y'all know y'all ain't want this woman. You see an ugly woman, you just feel that she gonna be easy and let me go ahead and just get her a dinner or something so I can just get satisfied for the night and don't have no good intentions afterwards. Then when you see this person you really attracted to and they treat you like crap, it's because how do you treat people? Do you purposely go into situations knowing that you don't have good intentions? What type of person are you to want to play somebody and use somebody? That's the reason a lot of relationships don't work. If I just got a job and I'm just meeting my bills and I'm living on a budget and the only thing I have after I pay all my bills and get my groceries and stuff is $50. When I meet someone, I just tell them, I said, well, I'm just making enough to cover me right now. Even if I go out, maybe we have to eat a dinner over here and it won't be all of that because I'm living within my means. Why can't anybody talk truth? Even when I worked at Waffle House, yeah, I had another job, but people see me and they see me at Waffle House. And I look at people, I work at Waffle House, a server. I don't even make $4 an hour as a server. Hopefully you give me a tip, and most of y'all ain't gonna give a tip. I wanted to go out. Okay, I can go out sometime. I can say we can go out and get to know somebody. I'm not trying to look for somebody with a 6-digit figure income. And I look at that person. You looking for all of that? Do you talk? Do you speak proper English? You been to college? Are you educated? Can you be their equal? Because you're supposed to be equally yoked now. Can you make a 6-digit figure income? And if you ain't making it, shut up. Shut up. Now somebody or God send that person to you and it was natural and y'all was vibing and this and this. That's one thing. But just because that person that got money asked you out, that don't mean that you have a right to treat them like crap and order 20 things off the menu and then want to feed all 70 of your children. Shouldn't have gave birth to 7 children if you couldn't afford to feed them. Something was wrong with you upstairs. And you can't find a good man. Want to bring the child on the date because you just want the benefits of the date and don't want to be involved with the person. You brought the child to try to block any action. Come on now. You ain't interested in them, leave them alone. Stop going out here trying to 3 or 4 people and then get mad. Okay? Because see, you get to playing these games and then 6 months later, you wonder what somebody tried to attack you and beat you up and you got to call in this situation. And that's because you set yourself up. Some people are vengeful. You thinking you making it off of them and making a fool out of them, and you never know how that hand will swing back, baby. That's the reason relationships don't work. You talk to me, and I mean, one guy, he was talking to me. He said, maybe you can take me out to dinner. I said, take you out to dinner? Oh, let me run. He said, why? You trying to talk to my wallet already? I ain't trying to take care of no grown person. And he started laughing. Next time he said, no. I said, no, I'm not available. You know, and he changed that whole conversation. He said, wow. I said, yeah, I'm peeping game. And he's like, I just get in the place and everything. And I just came out. I was in, jail for a minute. And, I'm here. And I got a little job with this company and trying to get my stuff together. I said, well, that sounds more like it. Okay. I ain't here to judge because some people go to jail. You can be in the car with somebody and find out they carrying drugs in the car and you going to jail too. You can be innocent, be a good person, could have been in college and lost everything in a blink of an eye. So I don't judge people, but I tell people to be real. And I can turn around and say, well, we can be friends because I don't go in just saying we're going to date. I want to get to know who you are. And you can flirt a little bit. And I'm like, okay. And I flirt with them and they say, but you'll never let me take you out. That's because you just be flirting. I don't know nothing about you. Compliments. So you trying to get this. But you got to talk above my waist. And not at my body. I'm spending my life with someone who has a thought. Who can manifest a lifestyle. I need devotion. I need commitment. I need loyalty. I need faith. We got to serve the same God. We got to have things in common. We got to be able to work out disagreements. And it don't have to be an argument, but opposing opinions. We got to be able to grow together. Okay? I got to look at you. Even if I'm not attracted to you, or I can be attracted to, well, in 10 years, let me see his family, and 10 years from now, can I still find him attracted at this stage? Do I enjoy him beyond his looks? Because looks can fade. Can I trust him? Is he going to treat me like I'm a lady? I'm a woman of value? And people say, you want all that? Baby, you talking to the wrong person. I never signed up to be your fool. I have a right to take dominion over my life. I have a right to set myself up for success and happiness. I don't have to be the butt end of your joke, your game, your hustle. And the same thing you trying to do to somebody else, how would you feel when the table turned? I don't want to wrestle with this. I don't want to date the devil. I don't need a liar. I need realness. Someone who want to overcome together. Someone who has a vision, dedicated, loving, understanding. Some of those things that is meaningful in life. I don't want to go and date a man. I go over to his house and it's nasty. I don't want to date a man every time I see him, he got to be high. Substance abuse problems. You broken, you getting high and drunk every day. Oh, my Lord. I don't need your problems. I didn't put myself in that position to make that one of my problems. But people get angry because you don't want to fall in the pit that they in, and you trying to keep yourself. You telling me what to do. Look, I'm not going to tell you what to do. I'm going to ask you, what do you think about this? What are you going to do? And you can tell me. I'm like, okay. And then turn around and I say, oh, no, I don't want to deal with that. Well, why did you say it was okay for me? Because you have the right to choose for yourself. And I respect you making the choices for your life. I didn't say I agree with your choices. Stop ignoring me. You ignore me. I'm not ignoring you. I'm listening to you. There's a difference. I'm thinking. Well, you didn't say nothing. I'm thinking. Sometimes a person can say something. I was like, I wonder where this leads. And you can go on a whole mental journey and turn around and say, well, I'm going to think about that. And why I got to be rushed to answer? Why I got to be rushed to respond? Did you come to that conclusion in a split second? Is it a sound conclusion? How's it going to affect me? And people don't respect what I say. That I don't even reply to them. I just look stupid. I just put a real dumb look in them and I say, oh, okay. You ignore me. I'm not ignoring you. I heard everything you said. And then when I ask them a question, they say, I'm going to get back with you on that. So you ignoring me? People don't like to be real nowadays. They want to hide that they came from poverty. They want to hide from this and that. I tell people, no, my father is very wealthy. He ain't giving me his money. Okay? He got off into it. He made it big. Okay. I went out there. I had some good times. Made it big and lost. Regained some things. Still building my life. I ain't got his kind of money. Because his kind of money, whoo, by the time he was 25, he had enough money to last him the rest of his life. But that's not me. And just because you come from wealth, don't mean you're going to be wealthy. All parents are not generous to their children and just going to give it away. People think that's raised in poverty. Oh, yeah. If my brother gets some money, we going to have something. You ain't going to have nothing. Then they fall out. Because one thing about getting money, a lot of times when God give you wealth, you got to be a good steward over that money. And you can't just, if you give it all away, you ain't going to have nothing. And I tell people, when I make my paycheck, I plan my paycheck for me, my lifestyle, not to give to my cousin, my sister, my brother, my uncle, my mama. And then I'm going to look at who was good to me. I ain't tell nobody I wanted to be their Jesus. I ain't saving nobody. But I'm responsible for what I bring here. I'm responsible who I'm in covenant with. Holy covenant, marriage. I'm not going to fund everything for you. Friends, you lost your job. It's 6 months later, you still ain't got another job. And you may come by and I say, well, come on by. I'll feed you. and you can get a plate. But some within 3 months, okay, you come over and get a plate. Don't you think you need to bring some food? You didn't even go to a church and get one of them free food baskets knowing that I'm finna cook dinner and you help me on my groceries. You had no thought of consideration. That's what I'm talking about. If you came over and you went to the church and they gave you 3 bags of rice, 4 bags of beans, and 4 boxes of mac and cheese, and then you got some produce, they gave you a bag of apples, a bag of potatoes, and you picked up 2 loaves of bread, and you brought that to my house, I'll be like, oh, thank you, because that would do a great help. And you don't have no food. You don't have no refrigerator. You lost your job. And I said, you can come by and eat. You lost your job. You lost your apartment. And I turned around and said, well, you can stay, a couple nights. But that's if I was single. Now, I knew a guy, he was just came out of jail. And he come by, and sometimes I have work. He cut my grass and everything, and I can help him out. But then one time, I asked him to cut the grass, and could he move some of the wood from my yard to the front and fell. The tree limbs have fell in the yard. And he told me, I'll be right back. And it was like 2 limbs, big limbs, tree limbs. And he didn't drag them to the front. And I seen them. I had paid them. I said, well, I'm finna go ahead and finish the yard and here. And I seen him a couple weeks later, and I said, well, you never came back and got those limbs up. Oh yeah, you right. And I ended up moving the limbs out the yard. But I had paid him for the service. So he came back over my house one couple weeks later. You got anything else for me to do? Nope, I'm not going to do no more projects. Don't worry about it. I'm good. You sure? Can you give you? I don't carry cash. And the door was closed when he didn't finish the job. That's it. I'm not going to run behind somebody. If I paid you to do something, the job should be completed. Then you wonder why you have bad relationships, things going bad for you. You're not even a person of your word. You tell people you're going to do something, you don't even complete what you're doing. And I'm going to tell you, this was last year, March or April. Yeah, March or April. I seen you, and a year later, and you are no further than when you was than the time I seen you and, let you do some work. A whole year later. I said, did you apply for a job? Yeah, I can't find work. Okay, Waffle House hire 7 days a week. Even if it ain't much money. You don't do anything for yourself. You stay with your mom now. Don't pay no bills. Complain. I don't look for people who's not committed to themselves, to picking themselves up. You made an excuse. I'm not going to be bothered with stuff like that. No, our journey, our friendship is over, and I'm going to tell you. Well, if I can get up, and they did layoffs at this job, and I go to Waffle House, and I'm not making very much money, and work for pennies, and hopefully for a tip, and thank God for that door being open, because that don't have to be open for me. I'm no longer there now, but, hopefully I can go back and get another job in time of need. I made sure whatever I did for them, I did it of excellence. My alarm. You know, I just look at people who make excuses a whole year later. I done got another job in the medical field, and I'm just working that one currently now. I wasn't terminated from Waffle House. No. Okay. And I just tell people, and I thank God for it, and they be like, you working 2 jobs. You working your life away. Well, this is where God had me right now. And until I can make more money, then I will be working 2 jobs until my situation gets lighter. Or I get better, something better. You know, I look at people, but the one thing about me and versus a lot of people that just want to be on public assistance, even when I had children, I'm going to get out there and work. So when you tell me you taking money out of me because you on government assistance from my check, like I owe you something, and I went and grind every day, had children, okay, and went through all kind of sense, was in floods and didn't have a home. And that point was immediately homeless. Had money in the house and the money got washed away through the flood. Okay? And you're talking to me. And if I didn't make an excuse for myself, I'm not going to make one for you. And then the government want to tell me, well, when you get old, you may not have no money to retire. The devil is a lie. You took it out. You took the money out of my check. But you can lend money to all these other countries. Wrong answer. This woman never had a job, had a baby, waited till she got 48 years old, gave birth to a baby 2 years in a row, stayed on the system another 20 years. She almost 70 before a child is grown, and you finna give her a Social Security check right now. That's what a lot of these women, they never had jobs though. And they don't subsidize. But you never corrected them along the way. So you was part of the problem. But you're going to tell the person that did what was right, oh, you ain't going to get nothing. Wrong answer. That's why a lot of relationships don't work. Even the government against the law-abiding citizens. This tug you see against us is because a lot of people, God is waking up. Oh yeah, you living here, you paying that high rent, you got 2 people on your lease as your financial income, knowing that they're not going to put nothing on your lease, your rent from month to month, and you got a 2-bedroom apartment and you pay almost $3,000 or $2,000 from month to month. If you paying $2,000 a month in a 12-month period, $24,000 is some people's yearly income. And this is an apartment. So how many apartments they have in that unit and they living good? Because you stupid enough to give them that kind of money. Because when you got that kind of money, baby, you should have stayed some old rinky-dink place with a relative and gave them $400 for to rent one room and build up the rest of your money of $2,000 a month and set it in an account and went somewhere a year later and put down on you a home. And you don't have to buy home. Or you just paying interest for these amount of years. No, can I just get one of them houses off of auction? Because the government, they done lost their mind talking about you didn't just pay rent for 10 years out of a 30-year mortgage is just the interest. Wrong answer. I'm going to auction. I don't care how much I got to put in it. It don't make no sense. I got a home that's $500,000 in for the first 10 years. I just paid for the interest. Then they can put me out my house the moment I lose a job. Man, come on now. That don't make no sense. And you think the government is for you? The way we communicate and the thoughts that we have towards one another, a lot of times is just not good. A 2-bedroom apartment, I don't care what nobody say, shouldn't be more than $700 a month. I don't care what nobody say. I don't care what part of town it's in. It's not enough space. You can get mobile homes with jacuzzi bathtubs, 2 baths. One is a jacuzzi bath. Okay. And you can pay $400 a month and have lot rent. $600 for the whole thing with their lot and rent included. And have 3 or 4 bedrooms. Use mobile homes. Manufacture homes. Okay, it don't make sense. So you in real estate and you finna go buy a property is $500,000. Baby, let me explain something to you. And this is just my opinion. My opinion. And this is why communication is bad, because y'all don't understand. I'm not going to get no 30-year mortgage and pay all that money in the first 10 years. I'm just paying interest. How many bedrooms? 4? And I can go to the auction and get a home, $20,000. May have 6 bedrooms. I may have to put something in it. But then if I have some work done on the house, it's getting done exactly how I want it done. This house, they may have been scamming. And excuse me. But I have a roof over my head. I'm not paying 3 times to have to make 3 times the rent to have a roof over my head. Having people co-sign with me and show their paycheck stubs and all that kind of stuff. And soon just crash, and God just let you know, you don't have nothing. You loyal to paying all that money and they don't care nothing about you. You homeless. And the government is finding all kind of ways for you to stay homeless. You bought an RV. Now they want to make a law. You don't have the right to live in your RV, in your trailer. But you're homeless. They rather see you on the sidewalk with a tent and tell you got to move every so many days than you be in an RV. You got to sleep in your car with your kids and they got a problem with you. Want to put your kids in, foster care and, CPS come get them, and you working 2 jobs, sleeping in your car. They want to put you in jail, but you can't go to jail and go to your job and save up enough money to get you a place. See, everything is against you. Poverty is a curse. Not having a plan is a curse. But everybody wanted to go to 5-star restaurants. And now people finally live. You hear people when they talk about, now the palm people, white people, are on the internet talking about, I have to work 2 and 3 jobs and I can't afford to eat. Oh, welcome to our world. When you still got states and their minimum wage is $7.25. It's common to find a job now for $9 an hour, $8 an hour. But your light bill, and I have TV plugged in my room and 1 lamp, have my refrigerator and a deep freezer plugged up. And your bills run $400 and $500 a month. And you ain't even turned the AC on. You just put a fan on. See, I have my TV off now. Everything's unplugged. I have my refrigerator and my deep freezer. I keep it unplugged every day for at least 5 hours and plug it back in. And then people look at me like, what? Because I take that money where I was having a light bill of almost $600 a month down to $400, $300 on a good month, and save that money to put it into my home. Insurance is going up. So the house insurance and stuff, payments and car insurance payment, and and I just look at everybody. I'm doing what I gotta do. So when I'm finished paying for the house, because instead of a 30-year lease, I got something affordable. I didn't even go that route. But I'm looking at in probably about 5 years or 6 years, I'm done paying for my house. If that long. And that's one major expense. And I have to pray to God that no natural disaster come and then mess over my home. And I said I'm going to have a couple tiny homes, like 2 of them put in my backyard because I have the space, just in case a relative or somebody close to me need housing. I can let them come in. And I told them, I said, well, they can pay something as low as whatever the utility bill is for their house and for the tiny home, and about $300, $250. If I have a 2-bedroom, it'll be $300. Because I still got to pay to have a tiny home put on the property. See, people be, oh, no, you shouldn't even charge that. Oh, yes, I should. Do you know how much a tiny home? I very well may be paying $25,000 for the home. Okay. If I say anything under $500, that may be about 6 years before I just get the money back that I put in on having the house erected. Tiny home in my yard. I'm just looking out for somebody along the way, and y'all can look it out, because as long as you paying your rent, you can be staying in that home. And if you a single man or older woman, retiree, and you lost your house and you only getting about $800 in Social Security, and I charge you $300 and you pay your light bill, which is probably less than $100 in a tiny home, and have internet on my property, you're good. You're not on the sidewalk. And I'm encouraging a lot of people that are homeowners, if you could put a tiny home on your property and try to find out to pick up someone like a senior citizen, low income, or you got land so they can have some housing accommodations. We have to communicate, people. Society don't get better until we come into agreements with things. And God is putting us in that position right now, because when people see how much the cost of food is, and how about fake food and having the children and the weight of all that and all that responsibility and overpaying for this, and where's our income tax coming in? And why do they have property taxes if they're not going to pick up the trash or the trees? You raked it up and put them in bag, and they're not going to come pick it up. This video is more so about, it was originally about couples, why don't they get along? Because everybody's liars and fake and fraud, trying to get over on one another. Poor communication on some BS. I don't wear a mask. I am unapologetically me. And I'm going to be about my business. And I know as soon, just as I was born in this world, I will one day leave this world. And while I'm in this world, from the time I'm an adult, even but with me before adult, I'm going to have to pay bills. Bills going to have to be paid. A roof going to have to be over my head. I'm going to need food and I'm going to need water. And I'll need a way to cleanse myself. Okay? For all the days I'm on this earth. And if you walking around thinking you are an adult and you don't have to pay bills and he should do this, like I told people, I wouldn't want my mate to suffer and struggle all the days of their life to take care of me. And I just sit back chilling. I get a check and I'm chilling. That's not working together. And that's not love. You shouldn't have to suffer unnecessarily when I'm an able body to help put money in our pockets. And when I say in our pockets, if we're paying the bills together, it's not 50-50. I tell people that I turn around and say, well, if you want to date me, well, they really was just talking marriage. And I said, all you want to do is 50-50. That's like us being roommates. How are you showing me that you looking at me beyond being a roommate? That's what I said. But I didn't say if I'm making good money and you making this amount and you paying the mortgage. Okay, if you paying the mortgage, I should make sure the light and gas bill paid. What? Yes. I can't go get my hair and nails did every week. And then you got these unlicensed stylists, and it's supposed to be against the law if you doing people hair and you collecting money for it and you don't have a cosmetologist license. It's supposed to be against the law. Penalty or I think 2 years, up to 2 years in jail or 5 years in jail and a $10,000 fine. I mean, I'm just saying. And they want to charge you $200 and $300 for some braids. The same braids that when I was coming up, I started the trend with the Tizillion. I had a whole thing called Goddess Braids, a whole expo, hair show. And guess what? We was doing $100 for Tizillions. But then when we wasn't doing Tizillions, we was just doing like box braids, basically. Dookie braids, box braids, $50. Putting a ponytail up, ponytails $25. You was only wrapping hair around the ponytail. Come on now. You pulled it up with some styling gel. Make sure it's set so it won't move. Put the ponytail, wrap the hair wrap around it, and put some glue on it and wrap the hair around it according to the style that they wanted. Glue bangs. $25. We was charging $25 to no more than $45. French rolls. After we set it, molded it up into the French roll, may have added hair to it. All that stuff was under $50. Nowadays, you go in for a shampoo, blow and go, and they want to charge you $100 for some shampoo and conditioner. And they don't even know what they be talking about when to cut all your hair off. No, baby, my hair ain't damaged. You just don't know how to blow dry properly. You're using that old blow dryer comb when you're supposed to be using a hard rubber brush. Uh-oh. Well, you need some heat protective, some with oil, some without oil, depending on the type of hair you got. You just didn't blow dry my hair right. Because if you blow dry somebody's hair right, I don't care how nappy their hair is, even if their ends ain't good. Once you put that stuff on there, that heat protecting on it, and you blow dry and use the hot, it should look like a silk press when you're done. And it shouldn't take long. So don't sit up and talk to me about hair, because I'm going to talk to you about what you don't know what you're doing. I went to school for barbering and to master cutting hair. Don't sit up and tell me this is how you do an end trim, and that's not. That's just a zero elevation. That's the reason, oh, the hair is see-through right here. Well, what if they had the shag in the hair and the rest of it was curly, and then they had one about that much of the back of the hair. They let that hang longer than the rest of the hair, and as the hair was growing out, this hair grew, and then you let somebody cut that shag in the back a little bit, and you get your hair blow dried. You have it braided straight to the back, a little braid style, some braids, box braids or whatever, and you wear them for 6 to 8 weeks, 2 months. Shampoo your hair, you take it down, and they tell you that this much of your hair is damaged. You don't have no chemicals in your hair. They ain't doing nothing but lying. Look, it's see-through in the back. That's see-through because I had that part cut longer, and the rest of it was in the 90-degree cut. This was 45 degree up here, then it went to 90 degree, and then down here I did a zero elevation. See, who you playing with? Then they try to make the sides be the same elevation, and you had all that cut right here because you wanted to wear it feathered back, layered cut, and then a little shag. And then you want to sit around and tell me you got to cut all of my side, the back of my hair up to my sides. You don't get out of here. We're going to communicate. Just say you don't know how to do it. You didn't go to school for it. And just because you went to cosmetology school, they may not have taught hair cutting like that. They gave you the basics. You had to go take other classes to specialize in certain things. Okay? So, we're going to learn to communicate, enjoy one another. And if you want your relationships to work, whether you in a intimate relationship, brother, sister, cousin, mother, friend relationship, you want to learn how to communicate. And how can two walk together unless they be agreed? And you got to come with some sense and stop all the hustling and the fakeness. I'm that girl goddess. Like, share, and subscribe.